Hello and welcome to another episode of An Echo of Glory. I reckon this is our earliest episode, 9:30 a.m. in the morning. Can't remember what we used to do.
We used to do it at 9:30 in the old days, in the bad old days.
You've spoken before. I've introduced you. It's Jake Robson. It's Jake. I can't. You two on at the same time kills me. Jake Robson without a hat, which means Jake Robson's going somewhere.
Yes.
Where
It's Friday. I'm going to a press conference.
We'll come to it.
That's what I do on a Friday.
We'll come to it. And it's a man with a hat. It's James Robbins.
Hello.
How are you?
Tired.
Yeah, you get up early to come here. Appreciate that.
It's a little trek. It's
Yeah.
a little trek. It's okay. One train's fine.
Well, it's one train, but it's quite far.
Yeah, just sit and try to sleep. Or sometimes have rewatched the game at double speed or watch the game at double speed if I've missed it.
Okay. We will obviously come to last night. An opportunity missed, as the title of the episode suggests. I think it really was. But we will come to that. Hatless Jake Robson, where are you going?
I'm off to Ipswich. Sunny
Another
Ipswich.
trek.
Another trek, yes, for the love of the game. Well, it's more for the love of the pod to come here first. But it's not the worst journey out to Ipswich. Get the train into London.
Who are they
Train to
playing?
Ipswich. Chelsea.
Oh, it's Ipswich, Chelsea.
Yeah, away.
So you seem to be doing pressures with managers who are linked to Spurs, other than even Juric you did recently. You've done Glasner recently,
I hope he
Marco
don't
Silva recently,
Yeah.
Kieran McKenna recently.
Absolutely.
Who's the other one? Who haven't you done?
Well, Silva
Iraola.
was a game, but yeah, Slot was the other one at the game. I don't think he's coming.
You're going to be off to Italy for that. Who's the one that was talked about on Twitter this week? Vincenzo.
Italiano.
Yeah.
Great name.
It's a fantastic
If you're
name.
Italian and you're called Vincent Italian.
Johnny English.
It's Johnny English.
Johnny English.
I read up on him afterwards because I was like, oh, new name. That's exciting. Yeah, go through him over everyone that I've said, nah, not keen on. He plays the same.
Is he Fiorentina?
Genoa, I think.
Genoa.
Or am I
Is he
getting
not
mixed up?
Fiorentina? Talk amongst
Or is he
yourselves.
God
Bologna?
knows. He ain't coming.
Well, either way, he is even more gung-ho than even Ange Postecoglou, from what I watched. So
You're right. He's at Bologna. Yes, he was at Fiorentina. Got back-to-back Conference League finals and lost them both.
As is now becoming customary week, shall I send my regards to Kieran McKenna, Johnny, from you?
Hey, he's a Tottenham man. Yeah, you can talk about Tottenham with
Yeah.
him.
Please come.
I like McKenna, I think. I don't know much about him, but Ipswich never look rubbish, even though they are rubbish to me.
Yeah, they've had some drubbings, but it's probably down to
I
the fact
don't think
that
it's a
a League
reflection on
One
him.
squad, playing
Yeah.
in the Premier League, apart from one or two. All right.
He's the kind of guy I would say has quiet confidence.
Yeah.
He never gets too up when they win, and he never gets too down when they lose. I've covered them quite a bit in League One and the Championship, and yeah, he talks a good game.
I am intrigued.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have to start talking about managers? We are, aren't we? I don't want to. I don't like doing too much speculation.
Yeah.
Are we
No,
now?
not yet.
Well, let's talk because let's.
It's going to be it might be the summer shows.
No.
every
But
single week,
as
so.
my point is, let's segue this into what something that Ange said. He basically said in his presser this week that the media, even if I win the Europa League, basically you guys want me out, or I think you think I'm going to go. Do you think he's starting to realise now that maybe he's done?
I think he's seen it for weeks. He's been quite prickly. Like at any job, if you're underperforming, they're going to tell you.
I don't think he believes he's underperforming.
He knows.
But there's never been own it. Own it.
There's no doubt in my mind that he's completely aware of how poor we're doing in the league. How he chooses to front that in the press is a different story. I do think if he owned it, he might have a bit more faith from a larger proportion of fans. At least, maybe not to keep him, but maybe they wouldn't talk about him in a more derogatory manner.
Yeah. Jake, is it difficult to do a presser when the manager's being prickly?
Yeah, obviously, because
Did you change your question? You obviously got set questions in your head. You're like, do you know what? I'm not going there because he could bite my head off here.
No, No, because then you're just a pussy. You have
Hang
to
on,
find
that's a tick on. So, Gary sent us a list of swear words for podcasts this week.
What,
Shout out Podman Podspur with the tracking of the profanity.
Yeah, there was something that was tracking profanities, and we only 2 swear words last week, so
I think
we're
they're
halfway
both me.
there already.
I think they're both me. I don't think, is that a swear word? Yeah, anyway, you have to find a different way to ask it. If you've got a question that you want to ask because you've thought that it's worth asking in the first place, there are managers that are going to be prickly, sometimes that can turn prickly very quickly.
Can you tell us your prickliest moment, or maybe not with you, but you were in a presser and you're like, oh my god.
No, I don't have one that springs to mind. But I mean, you always knew going into a David Moyes press conference that
really
asked the wrong. Yeah, definitely. And the worst is not even. It's not even when they get prickly. It's you're not expecting a short answer. No one ever expects a short answer in a press conference or an interview, and that's what catches you out a lot of the time. But then with someone like a Moyes, you knew, so you'd be ready. I'm trying to think who else.
Are there any journalists, and obviously you can't name names, but who you think
I can.
And he will
lean into questions that will create some sort of outrage or prickliness or a I don't know, quite a
I think so.
clickbaitable answer.
I don't know about necessarily clickbait, but I think the part of some journalists' shtick is to really prod and poke. But it's not always. You don't have to be like a top journalist to do it. Like someone like Darren Lewis doesn't really do that.
You're saying he's not a top journalist?
No, he is a top journalist, but he doesn't go and poke.
No.
But there are other ones who are similar position within another paper, or maybe even his paper as well, that sort of do. So yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
Horses for courses.
Horses for courses. I'm trying to think. I just looking at Premier League table. I mean, Mikel Arteta's a bad one because he can give really short. You've seen it.
Yeah.
You've been asked a question here.
How do you think the game's going to go tomorrow? And he'll just go, "We're going to play to win,"
right?
And then stare at you.
It's
Jake.
like Haaland's interviews, isn't it? Haaland's always really short.
Yeah,
It's
players
quite
are
funny.
different.
players
Players
a
are
bit
different.
different.
They've got to be a bit more careful. Jake, you've been asked a question. What did you think of Michael Bridges' question on Arsenal chance?
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, he got a good answer though, didn't he?
Yeah.
So
in a way,
that's the
good
thing.
question.
You can't really fault. You can't fault a question if you get a good answer.
I think he
It was a
knew. I think he knew what he was
self-aware
doing,
Mm.
Michael.
Yeah.
But Michael's a Spurs fan as well, so
That's the thing. If it was, I think it's also, yeah. I think being a Spurs fan, you're sort of like, well, maybe everybody would like to ask him what he thought about
Well,
that.
when your biggest rival is
Yeah.
chanting, I do kind of want to know what the club think.
I heard that chant, and I fully expect Arsenal to be singing that 3-0 up at home to Real Madrid. I mean, we've sung it about them. We've sung it about West Ham. Yeah,
We're the butt of the joke with every club in the country with chants.
Certainly London clubs, yeah.
It's
we sit at the darts now.
Yeah.
We're the butt of the joke. Tottenham
The
get
dart.
battered.
But if it's not, the thing is, if it's not a Tottenham fan doing it, then I do think as a Tottenham fan, you're thinking, oh, he's got an agenda.
Yeah.
Because he just wants to give us a kicking.
That's
he's
for
using his
that's for
platform.
likes.
Yeah, exactly. And he's using his platform to try and give Tottenham a kicking. But because it's a Tottenham fan, I think it's way more legitimate.
I agree. All right. Well, you've got to get off to a presser, so we got to get on with it. There's a little bit of club news. The under 21s got a big win against Sunderland on Monday evening. They won 3-2. They are still quite low down in the table, but that was a big win.
New midfielders in the team that we got from Chelsea in January. I think it's Reece Denny.
Yeah.
Apparently he's up for Player of the Month with another one of our players. Apparently, I think he's been playing in the under 21s. Apparently, he's quite good.
Okay.
8/10, and Olasesi's contract. He signed a new contract, and I think he also scored after coming back from injury recently. Again, talented player. He's a good little midfielder. That we have got a good crop of under 21s. I think a lot of them might have just made that jump from the 18s though. And then obviously we've loaned out a load of people.
Yeah, we said all throughout the season it's been a transitional season for them because obviously so many have gone on loan or come into the first team squad. So it's been a lot of moving. The 18s are doing okay. I think the 21s have found it really difficult.
George Abbott was the first choice defensive midfielder for the under 21s last season, and he's having a good loan at Notts County. And losing him, I think it was Tyrese Hall made the step up, and there's loads of stuff around him having those opportunities in the first team in the summer, and then something weird happening, and then he's all of a sudden not playing, not in the first team training anymore, and he's had to make that jump to the under-21s. So, maybe there's just been a bit of stuff around the under-21s, a lot of players out.
Yeah.
Maurice Denny coming in is probably another body defensive midfielder, probably helped them a bit.
Okay. All right. Let's get to last night then.
Let's get to it.
Someone on about 1 o'clock on social media, on Twitter, was like, I'm buzzing. And I was like, do you know what? We had a good chat on Twitter. I was like, I'm just not buzzing. I don't know whether it's because I'm a miserable 44-year-old now, or whether Spurs have just sucked the life out of me. But I wasn't buzzing. And the closer I got to kick off and got to the ground, then you obviously start to feel it. But I think we've all had the life sucked out of us a little bit by Spurs this season. But it was a big quarter-final. I have to say I was disappointed by the turnout. 57,000.
Really?
Yeah. And £60 for an adult ticket, I don't think it's too bad. People will argue. I thought £60 for kids was a bit of a disgrace, to be honest. It's Easter holidays. Regardless, I don't think kids should pay full price, but different podcast.
As bad as the concession stuff has been, there is a huge issue in football and at Spurs of getting younger people into the stadium. There's nothing for younger people to get cheaper tickets really to get in. So it's a shame. And yeah, 60 quid for a kid is ridiculous.
Yeah, nonsense. Where you have a story about where you watched it?
I watched it in stages. It was my brother's birthday yesterday, so my parents are also away, so I took what did I do? I took the plunge, took one for the team. So I was with him last night. We were over at some other family member's house.
And he's got no interest in...
He's got no interest. I even said to him, Mum and Dad are away. Should we go to the football? He was like, no, not interested. He's not a football fan. And then I was like, also, I'm not going to pay for his ticket if he doesn't want to go as well. That's like double whammy.
Yeah.
So I was like, fine, I'll watch it. We'll go for dinner, family, rest of the family, and I'll watch it afterwards. But didn't sit down to eat until about 8:30. So I just knocked off the first half because I'm worried because I want to see the game. I don't want it to be spoiled. I don't really want to have to watch it all when I get home because it got late. So yeah, watch the first half there, and then I'm like, phone's away. That's it. Phone's done. No one's not reading any phone. No messaging. Get home. Watch the last bit of the first half, and then I start watching the second half, and I'm thinking, what's the sweet spot here between watching enough now, getting enough sleep, having enough time in the morning to watch the rest of it?
Could you have gone to bed not knowing the score?
Oh yeah, 100%. But the thing is, as the second half went on, I was like, I'm not going to be able to sleep after this because this is like starting to get to the tense part. And I was like, I don't want to watch it all now. It was like 1 a.m. by this point. So I left myself 15, 20 minutes for this morning.
Oh, you watched it this morning?
Watched the whole game, didn't find out the result.
Wow.
That's dedication.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, but I wasn't going to watch the game back. I wasn't going to watch the game back if I knew the result.
No.
Don't like it.
Sometimes I rewatch the odd match if I feel like
rewatch.
I missed something.
Yeah. But no.
All right, well, here was the lineup.
I saved it.
Lineup caused a little bit of a stir, but ultimately I think Ange, I wouldn't say got it right, maybe got away with it because of good performances, but we'll give him credit. He picked the team and it probably worked. Vicario in goal, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie, Bijval, Bentancur, Maddison, Johnson, Solanke, Son. We were all a bit surprised that Spence didn't start. We didn't know whether Odegaard would start, and there was talk that he was injured, sort of to come out yesterday afternoon, and then Paul O'Keefe mentioned it, but he was named on the bench, wasn't he? But then he didn't try. The players warm up in front of me, and he did not warm up once. Didn't come off the bench. So you don't have an injured player on the bench, but there was clearly a problem there because he did not. He was no chance of him coming on. He just didn't even try out.
Hamstring tightness, don't risk it. But it's a shame to almost have him on the bench then.
Weird.
Yeah, weird. I don't know if they didn't want to pull as you say, an under 21, Ajayi or something, but
I don't know. Maybe they left it up to him, and he even said, "Then I just can't. It's not worth risking him." Maybe they thought for next Thursday. I don't know. But Spence was the odd one. Obviously, people get up in arms about a lot of things now very quickly, and I was annoyed too. I thought Spence, his performances dropped a little, but overall, I don't think Udogie's played great. But actually, jumping forward, I thought Udogie had an excellent game. His best game for a long time.
It's not quite, I don't think it's quite a 50-50 call, but it's not like a,
no,
you know. It's a sort of 60-40 maybe.
Yeah, he's not putting
in
Ben
Spence's-
Davies there. With
Yeah,
respect to Ben Davies.
exactly. It's not one to get irate about. I did wonder though when I saw Johnson doing all the pre-match media whether he was actually going to start in the planning to start.
Not another question, really. Another point. You tend not to put up a player.
Exactly.
There are times on internationals where a player might do a presser, but
But because they put up like 5 of them in an international league.
yeah, and there's a chance they won't play. Johnson was, I think, once he goes and does the presser, but that was possibly post the Odebear hammy in training. The report is that he got injured in training on Tuesday.
But then they would have known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he scored 2 at the weekend. And as much as we might not have wanted him in the starting 11, I do think you have to reward your players. In terms of Udogie, I was fine seeing Udogie start, and you're right. I think he had his best game in a while. He also, I think, did his first aerial cross ever for us. I sent a message in the chat like,
which one was that? Oh, and then just the start of the
yeah,
second
I think
half.
I sent it in 3 chats. I was like, Udogie just did a cross. I can't believe it. Yeah, a bit back to normal ways with him. Just he's so good when it comes to progression. Just drive up the wing.
But we haven't seen it for a while.
We haven't, and he's good when he's in the box. I think he's good with small touches, keeps the ball, and then he can often find a man or a shot. And we saw a little bit of that. So he's still there, and it's been a tough season.
He's
for
going to
him.
Man City, isn't he?
So there is the rumor. He's on their list.
Yeah.
I can't see it.
I love that. I love it when they say he's on the. No one's seen the list. They'll say things like Man City have made their interest about Udogie clear to Tottenham. No, they haven't. They haven't rung up the phone and gone,
No.
by the way, we're interested in Udogie, we'll talk to you in June.
If you make a list of the top,
Keep
15,
him on ice for us, really.
Make a list of the top 15 left backs in Europe.
He's gonna be on
and
it.
he's on it. And last season, you could have argued he was in top 3. This season, top 20 maybe, just because of who he is. I'm not afraid of that at all.
So, okay, we were surprised about Spence, but in the end, it was fine. We agree with that.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
does that set it up now that probably Spence is in the Premier League team? We may only have 1 Europa League game left, but Spence will play on Sunday, and Udogie probably plays in the second leg on next Thursday.
Don't know.
He did go off with supposed cramp.
Yeah, he does
And
get a lot of that.
This season's just, as I say, he had surgery in pre-season, so no pre-season. Then started the season a bit off it. Then he had an injury that kept him out for a while, and now he's kind of finally back in the team. He's never going to be at peak fitness, and I think we're seeing with a lot of the players that have come back from injury, it's taken them a little while to get going.
Yeah.
But that was the first time with our back line, considering Udogie, Van der Ven and Romero have all had long periods out where I thought, you look like yourselves now. I thought Romero was just dominant.
I thought it was excellent.
Also, Spence is a fit young guy. I wouldn't say that it definitely means he's not going to play Sunday, Thursday. Spence could start
Yeah, I
Sunday,
agree.
Thursday. I wouldn't be that surprised. So
Yeah, I agree with that.
Madison just started his first 3 games in a row for the first time in ages with a midweek, and Brennan started.
Yeah,
2 on the
January.
bounce
I think
and-
December, January was the last time he did it. Not allowed to play 90 minutes though. So another chat on social media yesterday was the whole get behind them stuff. I think it's very difficult when the team are not playing well to get behind them. But as I got to the stadium, the crowd were up for it. It was a little bit flat, but it's very difficult to stay behind. Yeah, you can G them up, but once they go 1-0 down after 9 minutes, it's very difficult. It's a two-way street, I think, with atmosphere. We have to see it.
was the atmosphere no good?
Points, certainly in the second half. The crowd, the Rob
crowd were
Daly,
up.
Spurs are up, the crowd were up, and that's just natural. It's you go to any event, if you a concert, if the music's crap, then you're not up.
There'll be plenty of concerts there.
I just think it's a two-way street, and people say on social, get behind him. Well, we're all behind him. We're there. We've turned up. We need a little bit more from you. Yes, it happened in the second half, but the first 15 minutes were pretty flat. They scored such a soft goal.
You say soft.
It's a very good goal,
Yeah,
but you've allowed him to. 2 players have allowed him to cut in on his right foot.
I think people could have got I think
Tighter.
Burville,
Yeah.
Romero, or Porro could have all got tighter. But I would say that on the scale of goals being your mistake and quality, it was definitely closer to just quality from an individual than any error of ours.
Of
We were
course.
in
You score
shape.
from there, it's quality.
And Ekitike is a hell of a talent. I think we complete the French under-21 front three, get him in Odobert, Tell and TK and win it all.
Yeah.
I think a few clubs want him.
Definitely.
Does the goalkeeper, I mean, he's seen it late, obviously through the legs, but it's quite far out on the floor.
It's a good goal.
It's almost as perfectly as you can put it. I
Yeah.
mean, we literally had a chat about
round.
finishing this week in the WhatsApp, and I was saying about Harry Kane was like, put it in the bottom corner, put it in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
It's like easier for you to do than top corner. Keeper's probably not going to get it, and he did it, and there's nothing Caro could do.
When that goes in, though, you're just sort of thinking that's exactly the kind of goal that we don't need to concede.
Exactly.
You know, we sort of keep it tight,
Yeah.
and we sort of did, but you know, it wasn't one of those goals we've conceded this season where it's like we've just handed it to them.
Yeah.
You're sort of just like just when you sort of need a bit of something, you get somebody knock one in from 30 yards.
Just takes
like,
a wind
come
out
on.
of yourself as well early on.
yeah.
Just want to put your head on the table like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go.
Here we go, literally.
It was his 20th goal of the season.
Yeah,
And
he's a good player.
I was thinking, I think it was at half time. I don't know why it came to me at half time. Why? How are Frankfurt getting players like this? The Bundesliga don't pay massive wages. Frankfurt are not.
It's talent scouting.
This is
Brighton.
Yeah.
Look at Brighton.
I know the answer. This is the answer, and
Yeah.
I just constantly have issues with our talent scouting.
Well, you
But it's
say
not just
that.
us.
I think we've signed great. We're very all aligned that there's a manager.
We've signed some really good players.
Problem here,
But this bloke's got 20 goals in the
players are
major
great.
European league.
It was making me think about how much I love Solanke, but he's just not a killer.
He never shoots
No, and he has.
or in a position to do so.
It was against United, I think. It was Spence put that ball through, and he did it all on his own. I was like, that is great. That's exactly what the thing I haven't seen from him yet. But then when I saw Ekitike do that, and now I need to go have a look at his goals catalogue because it's like sometimes you do need a striker that can just do it themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
It's
thing
very
is
good.
with players like him who are signed by a club like Frankfurt is that there's the intangible of pressure on the player when he arrives, or less pressure. We sign a player like Ekitike, he's not coming straight into the starting 11. He's got to then make his name for us off the bench. It's a completely I don't know what his history at Frankfurt has been, but he gets a run in the side, he scores goals.
Well,
And his momentum builds and he takes from there. And you're going to get that at a club where expectations are lower down than a club like, Tottenham
He's
should
dropped-
be.
he's dropped
It's just,
down.
that's why you get players coming through, and it's difficult for young players you can have all the talent ID in the world, but if they're not
they
going
don't
to
get
be
the opportunity.
yeah, if they're not going to be guaranteed a run of 20 starts playing, a good chunk in those.
He struggled at PSG.
Sorry, I tried to read his
and then
comments.
he
There's a
dropped
chair
down.
in the way.
He struggled at PSG,
Right.
and then Frankfurt was the drop down, and it's probably
So-
okay. We know there's a talent there. We'll take a chance.
So it's not
on
a
him.
talent ID thing. PSG found him.
Yeah.
They've nicked him off PSG. Anyone can do that.
I'm not going to go down that we should have signed Doué, and I know there's talk that he was at a
don't.
training ground.
Don't.
I just think it's not that football's not that easy. Oh, why didn't we sign whatever his name is, Ekitike?
Doué had a lot of like PSG are maybe the best side in Europe. They are so fun, and Doué, maybe in another world we did sign him, but he had a lot of offers.
I just think I
You
know.
can also have this conversation about players forever.
Yeah, I know, and I don't.
Kvaratskhelia when we had Mourinho.
I've got
we were linked
I've
with him all the
got
time.
a couple of mates who support Arsenal who say, "God, I wish we'd signed Bergvall."
Yeah,
Oh God, what a player he is!
yeah, great player.
And he's really young, come out of nowhere. We have one there. I mean, you're not going to sign all of them. That's the thing. You sort of sometimes have to go, well, actually, we have got one,
Yeah,
potentially.
Yeah,
that chance he had in the second half where he spun two players with like a deft touch into space, and the touch was huge, but he knew the space was there because
wasn't that just before he hit the bar?
Yeah, and then he drives, and you can hear the crowd with the shoo, and he does it. And I said I wanted to bring it up on the podcast because we only got about 1 XG last night, but I thought we were dominant. We had a lot of touches in the box, and it wasn't necessarily about the chances we created. I thought we looked dangerous. We had territory. We were getting in the box. We were maybe not having the shot, but passes
I agree
into
with
them
you,
looked
Jack.
dangerous.
It was one of those first times for a while I've watched Spurs and gone, a goal is coming.
Yes.
because we were building momentum.
Yeah, and that Bergvall chance was the lowest of individual XG. But once you've hit the crossbar, from an incredible chance like that, XG's out the window. Because, yeah, it's a good individual stat to show that this player's done something quite incredible by, it was 0.05 XG and they've scored. Wow, look at that overperformance. You need to kind of extrapolate that over a long period of time. But in that moment, as soon as that's flying near top corner, what's expected is out the window. It is just incredible.
Yeah.
And you're not asking questions about that anymore. You're just like, wow. And if that went in, I think that would have maybe won the goal of the tournament. I think it would have been...
From that angle, it's incredible.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What about our goal, though?
Yeah, I need to come to our goal. Solanke's getting a bit of tap. We've just talked about it. We do need to see more in terms of goal output, shots. He had one header in the first half. It might be the system. I think Solanke's a top player or a really good player. He ran into the channel, kept a little stray pass, kept it in. Lovely reverse ball into Maddison. Great first touch of Maddison. Lovely cross. Our fullback, what's he bloody doing in the penalty area?
Inverting
properly
all the way
inverting
up,
on the penalty spot. Great finish. Really, really good goal. Again, one of recently, I've been so down on Spurs. Yeah, we scored some nice goals against Southampton, but I was actually like, that was a really nice goal. I was like, all right, go on, well done. I'll give you some credit.
Absolutely.
Really brilliant finish.
But
Left
also,
foot as
you
well.
ask about Solanke, though. He's got the assist before the assist, hasn't he, there? That's what his game... I think there was a stat doing the rounds, wasn't there, when we signed him about number of goals he scored outside of the box, and it was like really low. Yeah. So that's not his... So I think the answer to your question is that's not his game. What he is good at, obviously he's good when he gets in the box. We've seen it this season. We saw it... Was it the United game where he scored that... did he manage to...
It was the one who ran... Spencer
the United Cup game.
And he ran... the length of the...
Yeah, and he went past someone and he's knocked it into the far corner. And I remember thinking that was a goal that Harry Kane would have been proud. Yeah. So I think that's his game. And his link play is really good. And as you saw last night, running the channel, playing through Maddison, he's got vision. I think there's a lot more to his game than I think we're probably being allowed to see at the moment. Yeah, maybe. Or just the way the team's... I don't think the system, I just think the way the team's playing.
I think he's not... When you've got Son and Brennan on either side of him, they're not... I know Son's got quite a lot of assists this season, but they're not gonna create him endless opportunities to shoot. And I've brought it up a few podcasts ago that he's doesn't average a huge amount of shots a game, 2 to 3 roughly. It's not wildly high, but you hope that they're quality chances, and we aren't creating them for him. In that move, actually, Son, and we had quite a bit of joy of it, and I'm keen to see us do it more, is these... They're not crosses, but in-swingers from the wide area to Solanke from Son. I think he did 2 or 3 times. And you just back Solanke to hold it up, or at least make a nuisance of himself so we can pick it up in a second ball kind of opportunity. And that's how we built that goal up. Son whips it. Solanke keeps the ball. Maddison, I think, had to grow in the game. He started really poorly. He's so inconsistent.
He tries too hard sometimes.
He really does.
Games. Big games.
Lost the ball that led to their goal.
Yeah.
And then he made up for it with an excellent assist. And if there's any player that can do that deft back heel, weak foot chance in the squad, there's a couple. But Porro's a bit of a mentality merchant. Like he's got the cojones to do that. And yeah, wasn't surprised. I was like, what the hell is Porro doing there? I thought it was Brennan.
Yeah, I did too.
And then when it was a cheeky little back heel, I was like, Brennan's got... No, he's not got that. Good finisher, but he's not got that sauce.
Didn't see it in the second half. As Daniel Pinker says, Porro getting to the front post as our right back. That's great. I don't know what Ange's ball is anymore, but that's probably part of it. I want to talk briefly about the 2 wingers. Yes, Johnson started. Maybe he was always starting on the back of 2 goals against Southampton. Maybe because Odebear was injured. We don't know, but he started. Son, I'm still delaying my Son's finish, but my God, was he bad last night. He has become so poor at receiving the ball. He's always never been great receiving the ball back to goal, but when he's
his first touch has never been the best in the world.
And when receiving the ball off the left back in our own half on the touchline, he has to sort of spin one round into the midfield. He spooned one towards our own goal last night, and it's not a position he's comfortable in. But going forward, he last took on a man against Elfsborg. He had that guy on toast, but he was
as a forward
with respect,
playing at right back as
playing
well.
at right back for a mid-table Swedish team. He hasn't beaten his player once since then. It's a problem, and I think it's not helping Solanke.
How many dribbles did he complete?
Not many.
And you know
0
what?
of 2.
0 out of 2.
So he only
Even
tried
2. Yeah.
I said this after the Fulham game. Even when Tell comes on for 10 minutes at the end, he still looks like he's got... I want to see
So
Tell
bright.
start at the weekend because he looks like he's got the confidence, because a lot of it is about confidence with a winger, especially a young player. And if you're giving him 10 minutes at the end, it's difficult. I sort of feel like I want more of this. I want to see a bit more of this.
I completely agree with you.
He delayed the subs too late yesterday. So
100%.
Richarlison got 3 minutes, but Tell got, 12 minutes?
Yeah,
Not enough.
It's
And
not
he only
even
got
that.
4 at the weekend, Tell against Southampton.
Yeah,
It's
but it was that because you want to see more from them. But also, I don't think that the players that he took off warranted that long. I think Maddison could have been taken off 10 minutes earlier, or at least 5 minutes earlier.
I wouldn't have taken Maddison
I
off
actually
at
wouldn't
all,
have taken
personally.
Maddison off.
Well, Son definitely could have gone off 10
Yeah,
minutes earlier.
He could have.
I mean, if you're going to bring a winger on, give him 20 minutes, 25
To
minutes.
impact the game.
100%.
I think Son's a bit of a hero, and I would love nothing more than for him. Of all our players that were here for 10 years, so you've Vertonghen's, Lloris's, obviously Harry Kane, I'd love for Son to lift a trophy. So bad. But this season, I think that Brennan's getting a lot of stick, and Son is avoiding it. And you mentioned in our chat that he's got a lot of credit, and that is true. Son's never going to get hounded the way Brennan has, which, to be honest, has been too much at times with him having to delete Instagram 4 times and stuff. Son definitely does more in build-up. He doesn't look as useless as receiving the ball in the halfway line as Son does, as Brennan does. Sorry, Son, it's okay. As I say, he got that kind of pre-assist, like that cross or that ball.
We're going pre-assist now.
Jeez.
I'm just
That's
thinking
just a pass.
Well, I'm just thinking it was a really progressive pass.
It was a good ball, yeah.
It was a key part of the move.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play that pass, does the move happen in that way? No, absolutely not.
But we don't. We want more. We want the old Son, and we're not getting it.
Output is not there.
Yeah.
And it is arguably worse than Brennan. Brennan's not doing anything else, but at least he's putting the ball
biggest
in the back
problem,
of the net.
the biggest problem, the hill that I've died on many times, is sat in this chair this season, is that when Johnson scores, or when he went through that scoring run earlier on in the season, a lot of it was obviously coming from crosses that were coming in from the left-hand side. If Son's not putting crosses in, if the ball's not coming in from the left, then Johnson is cooked, basically, because that's what he feeds off. Sort of scraps.
Is
and
Johnson's
balls.
role literally to be at the? Is that what his role is?
Well, it
To
may not
feed
be
off
his
these crosses?
whether it's his role or whether it's his strength that then they want to play to, and that's why he got a lot of success in the early stages of the season. Most of the goals coming there, and I kept saying to anyone that would listen, maybe that's part of the plan. You've got Son, who's better at taking people on, and you've got Johnson, but it can't be a coincidence that he keeps being at the back post, finishing off crosses.
But not Son's. I can't remember when he's actually had a cross from Son that he's been able to put away. It's been Maddison or the fullback, like Spence at the weekend.
But yeah, fine. But getting anything from that left-hand side...
It's so important for Johnson's game. You're completely
Yeah.
right. I just don't think Son's doing that. And
No.
I've got a comment there saying, please make allowances for Son. I think I'm always going to make allowances for Son. But we do have to have an uncomfortable conversation that he might be overall performing worse than the player in the squad that gets the most
tap.
stick. And that is unfair. And yeah, maybe it's because when he's on the ball in midfield, he doesn't lose it easily or doesn't look like nothing's going to come of it like Johnson does. But
He's also the club captain. That's the problem as well.
yeah, but Johnson scored 2 at the weekend. I know he fluffed the same, literally borderline the same opportunity from Spence near the penalty spot.
He also had that header early on, didn't he?
Which I think.
Oh, it wasn't his header, but I mean...
that was definitely a corner.
It
No, it
was
was
a
a
corner.
corner. It was 100% a corner.
Jury's
They
out
showed it on the replay.
Jury's out on that referee.
And Fiat was bad.
Bad?
He's been quite touted
Their
around
left
a
back.
lot. I've seen him play
Yeah.
for Belgium. I thought he was quite good. He was bad. But yeah, so I need to see more from. We have the opportunity to do some really good future planning with Tell. Tell could be the Son replacement that we have to get, and when we're squandering it by giving him 10 minutes here and there. If we've decided all of a sudden, oh, actually, we don't want to pay 50 million euros, don't play him, it's pointless, then that's a real shame.
I think he's gonna. I think he'll stay.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think he will. I think we've. Well, I wouldn't say we've seen enough, but I think we'll see more. I think he'll start at the weekend.
Yeah. It was a perfect. Michelle's saying it was a perfect opportunity for Tell to start for Southampton. I thought exactly the same, and then to be honest, I thought he might against Frankfurt, and I don't know if it was that 2 goals from Johnson at the weekend that kept him in, but maybe he would have if Odegaard being out and Johnson didn't score those goals. I don't know, but we're squandering this talent that for a long time has been really touted to be a world-class one.
Yeah. We'll come back to Eintracht, as is our want on this show. We're going to talk about our future opponents because we have got another game. This weird bogey team that we've got in the Premier League now, Wolves.
Another one.
And we'll probably see people like Tell and I don't know who else starting, but we're going to talk to Ryan, who is making his 3rd appearance, I think, on an Echo of Glory. It's a hat-trick.
Hat-trick for you.
Hat-trick for you. Hi, Ryan. Can you hear us?
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you for potentially pulling over and doing this in your car.
Yeah, no problem.
So we've been talking about Thursday night. I don't know if you saw the game, but I think a better performance from Spurs. But I think we've had you on the back of good performances before. And then, like I just said, Wolves are a bit of a weird bogey team. But before we come to Sunday, what's the mood down there? Obviously, Gary O'Neill has left. Vitor Pereira's come in. I mean, you were real relegation favourites under O'Neill, but he sort of saved you from relegation. But still 17th, looking over your shoulder, maybe not so much now after the Ipswich win. But how is the mood?
The mood's fantastic. I mean, we're unbeaten in 4. We drew 1 and won 3 on the bounce. Goal down Ipswich to half-time, turn it round, beat West Ham. It was only 1-0, but it was comfortable. 12 points clear of the relegation zone, superior goal difference. So you could probably say if Wolves lost every game and Ipswich won, they'd have to win every game, and that's probably not going to happen. So I feel quite confident now. Obviously, mathematically, it's not over. We can't take anything for granted. But as you say, Wolves have done traditionally quite well against Spurs since they've been back in the Premier League. And we're catching you in between 2 big games as well, so it could be an interesting game. So I don't know if players coming in will have a point to prove or not, but yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to Sunday afternoon.
And what's Pereira changed? I've actually worked on a bit of the Saudi League this year, and the team he managed was very progressive attacking, played good football. What's been the difference?
Wolves just look organised now. You know, often you'll see teams that you play against that are awkward to play against. They're just well organised and it's just ugly and they just stink the place out. Wolves have become really good at doing the basics. They've gone back to a wing-back formation. The turning point of the season really has been signing Emmanuel Agbadou from France. What a signing he's been, 6'4", about £17 million. Marked many an opponent out of the game so far. So him coming into the middle of a back 3, he's done fantastic. Your old player, Matt Doherty's kept a place at right centre-back. He's been playing really well. I'm not sure if he's going to be fit for Sunday afternoon or not. But just the main organisation of the team. Also the introduction of Marshall Monetti, who came in as well from Stade Rennes. He's not the most spectacular player, but Wolves look organised. They press well as a team. They're just very good at seeming to stopping teams play. And from a Wolves point of view, from having a soft underbelly, it's quite enjoyable to frustrate teams now.
Was Agbadou the player? One of our listeners here, Louis Stevenson, says Agbadou signed because you didn't get Danso. I mean, was that Danso thing? Do you know was it ever actually happening or just social media rumours?
Yeah, so Kevin Danso was set to sign for Wolves. It was agreed, but Spurs came in. I think we'd won on a Saturday afternoon, but Spurs swooped in. He was flying to England, but then he went to Spurs. So, and then we've signed Nasa Jajiga instead. He's come from Belgrade. We haven't seen a lot of him yet. He's more one for the future. So, but by all accounts, it's saying we might have escaped one with Danso from what I'm reading from what the Spurs fans have been saying anyway.
Done all right.
Quite like him.
Yeah.
What about the manager though, as a personal? When I've interviewed him a couple of times, he seems very relaxed. Like even after the defeat in the cup, I think it was. I was down in Bournemouth, and we were thinking, oh, he's going to come in, he's going to be really unhappy. He was just sort of like, well, that's football. It happens. It's and it feels like some of that kind of relaxed attitude has kind of rubbed off a bit on the players, because obviously it looked completely the opposite by the end of Gary O'Neill when he was there.
Yeah, Vitor, look, from what I understand, he's someone that behind the scenes, he's a disciplinarian. Everyone's eating together. Everyone's staying in the hotel the night before. Everyone's taking responsibility. We do everything as a team. Whereas at the end of Gary O'Neill's tenure, I think the players were training once less a week, and it was just all over the place. Some people were coming in at different times, and that from any kind of business is going to annoy people, because one of your colleagues is getting to come in at a different time, and people aren't training enough. And when some of the players are saying, well, hang on, we need to be doing more training this, it didn't look well. So his demeanour in the press is an experienced man. I mean, he's had so many different jobs now, so he talks well. He's a relaxed figure in front of the media, but I think there's teacups flying around when it's not going well in behind closed doors, and that's the way I like it. He's calm and composed. He's got so much buy-in from the fan base. He's celebrating tackles and runs and pumping his chest to our stands, and it's going down really well. So they're really happy with him. I'm really happy with him, and I'm almost looking at next season now, and I'm excited for what lies ahead.
I mean, looking at the Wolves squad and kind of trying to work out who the danger man is. Obviously, Cunha's he's back from suspension this weekend. We know about Cunha. I always thought for a long time that Wolves needed a striker, and I thought that was happening when Sasa Kalajic was signed. But then obviously he's had injury problems, never really got going. Strand Larsen's got 11 goals in the Premier League this season. I've been impressed by Bellegarde, but focusing on Strand Larsen, what kind of player is he? He seems to be doing really well this season.
Yeah, Strand Larsen, I think people judge him as a big centre forward because of his pure size, whereas if you're lugging balls towards him, that's not really his game. He's actually a really good finisher, as you saw at the lane with that finish that sort of underside of the bar and in. He's a really good finisher, and Wolves haven't fed him enough. He feeds really well off in and around the penalty box and 6 yards. So if Wolves get it wide and let the wing backs put crosses in for him, he will score goals. But Wolves have been guilty of not giving him enough service. But bizarrely enough, since Cunha's come out of the team and Manetti's come in, Manetti's like 6'2" centre midfielder. He's created a lot of space for Strand Larsen, and his goal record, I think he's got 4 goals in his last 3 games. So he's really on form, and he's benefiting from now being the main man in the team.
And looking ahead to Sunday, Ryan, you've got, like you said, 3 wins in a row in the league, which is the best run in the division at the moment. Unbeaten in 4 against us, which is your best run against us since 1970. Is it becoming a thing with Wolves fans that actually it's a bogey team, like we got it with Man City? Are you actually looking at it going, do you know what? Actually, Spurs are a team that we now beat. Is it becoming a thing?
I think it's fair to say that we look forward to playing Spurs now because we know there's a chance. And I mean, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but from a Wolves point of view, we're organised, gritty, and determined, which, no disrespect to you guys, is what Spurs don't look at the moment.
Yeah.
And
correct.
Yeah, and I don't mean that in a harsh way. I'm just saying what I see. So Wolves aren't spectacular. They're not particularly pretty. They're just dogged and organised now. So that's the kind of team we want to be playing. From recent experiences of watching Spurs, that's who I want to be seeing. Particularly, I thought when Cunha went off at sort of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when we played you last, we were actually better without him in the second half. Yeah. So let's see. I'm looking forward to it, but there could be a load of players coming for Spurs with a point to prove, and you may beat us, but that's football.
Last week, I was on this podcast and I was very downbeat, head in my hands, just had enough. And I was thinking then, I was like, I think we finished below Wolves. What do you think about that statement now? Maybe I was too downbeat last week, but I don't know. There's not a huge amount of points in it.
Yeah, I love your honesty. And when Wolves have lost a game, I feel the same way. I just think it's like Monday morning, the week's over. Great, thanks, Wolves. I'm 45 years old and I should know better, but you can't help it. We all love our team, and that's what it does. Can Wolves finish above Spurs? Absolutely they can. There's an opportunity for Wolves to play Spurs on Sunday afternoon, a team that I will think, and I mentioned this to Jonny before, I do think Spurs will be distracted. I think Spurs can't get relegated. They can't make Europe. So all eggs in one basket for next Thursday. Yeah. But that's what I'd want if I was a Wolves fan. So in terms of your statement, I agree. And I think Wolves can beat Spurs on Sunday afternoon.
Go on then. We've had you on twice before. Don't. Yeah, well, we've had you on twice before and we haven't beaten you yet. So go on. And I think you predicted Wolves to get something each time and you've been right. So go on. What's your prediction for Sunday?
I mean, I think I came on and I was expecting an ambitious draw last time. But I know this probably, there'll be egg on my face and it'll probably turn into some clip on there. But I do think Wolves will win Sunday afternoon. Man for man, your forward line is way better than ours and it should be further up the league. I totally get that. But Wolves have got lots of heart and determination in there. And I think that an organisation and that wins football games in the Premier League if you're not using your talent properly. So I'll go by Wolves winning by 2 goals on Sunday afternoon. And it's probably the last time you asked me on the podcast.
Nah, you'll be on, mate. You'll be on. All right, listen, Ryan, thank you once again for joining us again. I got in the car after last night and the first thing I said was, we're getting beat Sunday. I just think, as you say, it's in between 2 massive games. And I think he'll rotate massively. And I think we'll be a little bit disjointed.
Genuinely wish you guys well. I wish the Postecoglou days of when Spurs were really, really good to watch and it was fun, it was end to end, and you didn't care about defending. That was fun. Now I don't know what's happened to that Spurs, but good luck in Europe anyway, guys.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks.
Ryan, enjoy the game
Cheers.
on Sunday, and we'll speak to you.
Cheers.
We'll speak to you next season. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. Good
Thanks,
luck.
mate. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah, I mean, good time to be a Wolves fan because, as he's sort of alluded to, they're safe basically, and they can just have a bit of fun now between now and the end of the season. I think it's like, why not? And then you come to somewhere like Tottenham. It's not a giant killing, but you just take the handbrake off and see what happens. I think I'd be worried.
Like I said, normally the first thing I say when I get in the car is, "How did we play? Who do you think played well?" Blah blah blah. I was like, "Nah, Wolves beating us Sunday."
If we play like we did yesterday,
Yeah, but we
smash them. But I just don't trust us. I don't trust us to do it on the weekend, and I hate to be down. I don't know if I trust us to do it away at Frankfurt. I went to the Frankfurt away game.
Yes.
Last time we
What was
played
the atmosphere like?
mental.
Yeah.
Mental.
You couldn't. There was a few Spurs fans. So come on, let's sing, let's get a chant. It's like I can't hear someone who's this close to my face.
Yeah.
They don't stop. It's not a stand. It's the entire stadium.
Yeah.
I think we often, as English fans, look at that and go, "That's what a good atmosphere is." And I don't know if chanting for the whole time and not paying
agree with
attention
you.
truly lends itself to
Yeah.
the watching football experience at all times.
Yeah.
If I had a flag in the ultra ring going over my head midway through the game,
That's
I'd
something
lose
I
my
always look
absolute
at. I'm
head.
like, how can you go away? I want to watch the. Well, sometimes I don't want to watch the game. Keep it waving.
It's like when a director cuts away when you got a chance. It nearly happened when we scored at the weekend, actually.
Yeah.
And, so, I don't know how much it lends it to the experience, but hey, it's a cultural thing. It's a crazy atmosphere, and the players will feel it.
We'll talk more in depth about that game on Monday, but I was looking at some stats last night when I got home, as I do. They've scored in every home
You
game.
waited till you got home. That's very good of you.
Most people do different things when they get home late at night and go on the internet.
James, Jesus, family show.
Bit early for that.
They've scored in every home game this season, but going further back, they've scored in 56 of their last 60 home games. We are one of the 4 teams to stop them scoring in those last 60 games. The others were Union, Freiburg, and Napoli. It's going to be really tough. We'll talk more in depth about it on Monday. But do you think it is a real missed opportunity last night?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Given how well I thought we played in comparison to the rest, it's the best we've played in 2025, easily.
Yep.
Easily.
And it should have been, by the way. It's the biggest game of our season.
Exactly. And you might say ours at home, but Frankfurt are a bigger, better team.
No.
A bigger, better team. And I am not as hugely confident now moving forward for the fact that we didn't get a win. I think we really needed at least a goal to be a goal up advantage.
I think so.
I thought as a performance, though, if you think about over the years, when I was growing up, the United performances of old, sort of first leg, it was a really proper European performance that last night in terms of the patience that we had in the build-up play, the sort of I would say tactical nous and the way we approached the game. It was really like we didn't go all guns blazing. We looked to keep it tight most of the time. It wasn't like 90 mile an hour all game long. We looked to try and pick our moments, and we sort of sensed that when there was the chance in that kind of 10-minute spell, that was when we were going to kill them off. And I think it was almost the perfect performance in everything but not being able to, as James says, take a lead, because that's what we need. 1-1, a draw going back to there is not really good enough. You sort of feel like in the old days with the away goals rule, we'd be pretty happy. Because, if you can go and score at theirs, then they're in real trouble. Because that if you can get another, then they're really, obviously that's not, that was about 10 years ago now. But you know what I mean? It's sort of, I was watching it last night going, United in the 90s would have been proud of a performance like this, more or less. We're not as good a team as them. So I think
I think
where
United
we've
in
been,
the 90s are going to be wanting to win that.
yes,
game.
but I think from where we've
probably
been
do
this,
win that game.
And they probably do win
from
that
where we've
game.
been this season,
Yeah.
I think it was
a good. I do wonder if that 20 minutes of pressure clouded over what was maybe not that good, but it was, as you say, definitely the best performance of 25. I think we played pretty well. I think 8 of our 10 outfield starting 11 played really well. I think we've talked about it. I thought the wingers were poor. And it's a problem.
But also, I don't think it clouded over the rest of the performance. We had a couple of dodgy moments. You're going to get that. They're a good team. I think we controlled the game. I would say that we were looking to pick our moments. I mean, people would say they had us at arm's length. Maybe.
What did we think about them? Different to how Kevin said he was going to.
Yeah,
I was quite disappointed by them.
Yeah, I think they will feel like they did enough. You know, they've done enough, and
sure.
can't wait to get you back to ours kind of vibe. But yeah, I mean, I think if we can put a performance like that together in the second leg, we've got every chance.
As Pilch 58 says, we never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
I think it was Louis said earlier, just Tottenham's luck that their second choice goalkeeper played really well. But Kevin said he was a good keeper.
Yeah, but I also thought when he said that, I thought, well, we've got to try and take more shots early on from outside the box.
He made a great save from Son in the second half.
did.
He went early. He knew where someone was going to put it, but he went early. And
I thought that was in.
I
thought that was in. I was up. I was out my seat.
I think they played the way they did because we made them. Personally, I thought we, at least in that second half for sure, we dominated them, and they could have really played their football. They broke a few times. Teams break against Man City a few times. Teams break against Arsenal, Liverpool, the best teams in the world. It happens. The best teams concede chances. It's just how football works. So it doesn't worry me that much when we, put some bodies on the line, defend like we did, even if it sometimes looks a bit messy. That's one of my only concern. When they did break and they did get near the box, it did look messy.
But it's going to. We know that's how it's going to be.
But it's like right at the start of the season where we, with that back five with Vicario, we statistically had a really decent top 4 defence in the league, and it reminded me of that. It was a bit messy, but we
got it done.
Yeah, we got it done and recovered the transition, and that's how I felt about last night and our defence. Van der Ven made a classic lung-busting run sprint slide tackle.
Hamstrings looked all right, didn't they?
The crowd, do you know the crowd? It was so bizarre. When he was chasing that guy, the crowd would
No,
but the crowd were cheering like they knew it was. It was like cheering before it happened. It was bizarre.
And then
and let me guess, Johnny, you were sat there waiting for him to grab his left leg.
Correct.
I'm really interested to see the second leg in terms of them, because part of me's like, are they the level that they play at? Was that obviously wasn't the best of them last night in terms of an attacking sense. They didn't press us that much, but we're so used to seeing Premier League teams be very good.
So the question
how
is, where would they finish in the Premier League title?
Yeah, how good? Like I was expecting us to be pressed to hell and back, and that didn't happen. Maybe because it was the first leg, they thought they wanted to keep it tight and come away with one goal, a draw maybe. Second leg, we're led to believe they do press. They're very high energy. I expect to see that in the second leg in a different game.
Are we just twisted in our head now? We think a press is players sprinting at breakneck speed.
No,
25 yards.
We've seen a lot of it this season. Our defenders and goalkeeper getting harried and harassed and making mistakes, leading to goals.
They did none of that.
But what I don't know is that because it was the first leg?
They may be showing us a lot of respect.
Maybe we
have, as we know, got some good players who are maybe just not very well coached. Who knows? We'll see more about that next week, and we'll talk about it more next week. We've got to go very shortly because hatless Jake Robson's got to get off to Ipswich to do a press conference.
I've got to go as well.
You've got to go as well. All right, you're not going to a press conference.
No,
he's got dentist.
He's getting to Bristol. All right. Quickly look at Sunday. What do we expect the lineup to be? Or the players that will come in or should come in? I think Davies will come in. Van der Ven will sit out.
Yeah,
100%.
Which of the fullbacks will play? Yeah, Spence and
probably Porro, because especially with the doggy coming off.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So Spence left back, Porro right back, Romero and Davies probably.
Yeah.
Bissouma will come in.
Yeah.
Nah, will he? I don't know if he will.
I think Sarr will play.
I see Sarr playing.
I'm not sure Maddison plays again, because didn't he play? Did he play against Fulham?
No, he was 3 in a row.
I think he has to play while Kulusevski's out though.
Yeah,
where is that?
I guess there's the old Gray, the Gray. I think Bissouma this time plays, and then maybe he plays great.
With Charleston up front.
Gray came on against Southampton in midfield.
I think Tell has to start.
Yeah.
If
Agreed.
Audebert is fit enough to be on the bench, surely he starts on. But then he doesn't want to make. This is the thing. You don't want to make 7 changes because you just get battered by Wolves.
Yeah, we could
and
do
that's no
like
good.
a whole. We have the players now to be able to almost do an entire 11 change.
But
which we won't
Richarlison
do.
looked up for it when he came on.
I'm a big fan of Richie. I hope he gets fit. 'cause I
I'll
think
never
when he
doubt
is
him being
fit,
up
he
for
is-
it. That's never in doubt. But
When he's been fit, he scored goals.
Yeah.
Can't complain about that. It's just the problem that he's never fit. His biggest
just
issue
wanna
is
see
fitness
Tell.
rather than anything to do
I
with
don't know
his
about
game.
that. He went a long time without scoring. I
Yeah,
don't,
but he,
Tell you who
under
else-
Conte, he was broken.
I tell you who else-
He couldn't kick.
Yeah,
He's-
yeah.
he only
Last
scored
night,
headers.
who really stepped up in the big game, having not been very good this
is it
season.
my mate?
Yeah.
Yeah, Benton Cool.
His form's been better.
He still looked, and I think it's more to do with the position he's playing. He still looks vulnerable when he's having to do defensive stuff. But I don't think he's a proper
Got
old
stuck
school
in though
6.
last night.
But
Yeah.
on the ball, some of his decision making and his skill on the ball was just
There's a top
exactly
player
what
there.
you want
There's a
in a
top
big
player
game.
there.
Yeah, but we haven't seen enough of it
But
this season,
are
and
we
I
seeing-
can't put all of that. You can't put that on the manager. You know, sometimes you have to look at the player and go,
Oh
he
yeah,
hasn't
for
been good
sure.
enough.
And injuries and suspensions have certainly
100%.
hampered it.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing the benefit of the same midfield playing together for 3 games in
Yeah,
a row.
of course.
Yeah.
And I think they're all benefiting from that. And I think all of the midfielders played really well. But honestly, I think of the 3, I think Maddison, I say he'd have the worst game because he had a good game. But I thought Bergvall was excellent again. I thought Bentancur was really good.
But he's not a 6, is he?
No,
He's not a 6.
they're expensive.
Yeah. But he's got some of the attributes. And
Yeah.
there wasn't a moment yesterday where my worry with him is always not really knowing on what's going on over his shoulder. We're quite sloppy. If anything, it wasn't managerial for me that the problems for us last night is that we're really sloppy with some just 5-yard passes at times.
Oh yeah.
And
But that might be
Bentancur is-
managerial. The players
might
are
be
robots.
structure,
It's structure
yeah.
and knowing. It's just I just
But
don't.
Bentancur normally I feel like is culpable of that, and he was.
Yes, for sure.
He wasn't last
Yeah,
night. He was
yeah.
really good.
Right, you got to get a train.
I do.
Quick prediction for Sunday.
Oh, don't. Tool.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
positive.
absolutely.
He's got to catch a train.
I'm not gonna
2-1
predict a defeat.
Wolves.
2-1 Wolves. Yeah, I just think we get beaten. As Soul Sniper Gaming says, and you're welcome for your Spurs beer mug that he thanked us for that we sent him. He won
Soul
it.
Sniper. Enjoy it. Drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly, not at 9:30 in the morning or 10:30 in the morning. He said it's a game of no consequence. You're right, but I don't want to lose any game. But I think we will lose this game. I think we'll rotate because we have to, and I just think it'll be disjointed. It's a very much a post-European
Hey,
fixture.
all the players that we really want to see start, like Tell, come in and show Ange why we've been
Okay,
calling for them
well,
to start.
that's what Ryan said.
And he scores a hat trick.
Yeah, fine.
and
Players
we
to
sign
prove a
him and
point.
The future's bright.
Players to prove a point. Well, we got to go because hatless Jake Robson's got to get himself to a press conference. Say hello to our friend Kieran McKenna.
I will.
Slip him the contract.
All right, Monday.
Serve him.
Yeah.
See you Monday.
See you
You've
Monday.
been served. You have to manage Tottenham Hotspur now. I'm sorry.
All right, got to cut this one short. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. An opportunity missed. We're still in the tie. We'll talk about the second leg and the reaction to Wolves on Monday. We will see you then, and up the Spurs.